Recaps here. Today I'm going to explain an action comedy called Shaolin Soccer. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. Feng, also known as Golden Leg, is one of the greatest football players of his time because of his majestic abilities to score a goal every time he struck a ball. One of Feng's teammates, Han, was always bullied, which turned him into a vengeful person. One day, he tells Feng that if he misses a kick in the next game, he will win a lot of money. So Feng decides to accept the offer, but it turns out that Han had staged the event. The crowd injures Feng, breaking his leg. While Feng was grieving the loss, Han became a big football coach. Feng starts working as an assistant to Han, and his dignity gets crushed every day due to constant humiliation. Golden Leg requests Han to give him a chance to be a coach, but he refuses and disgraces Feng by saying that he's nothing more than a cripple. Han rubs salt in his old wounds by revealing that he was the one who staged the whole event that led to the end of his playing career. While walking on the streets feeling lost in the memories of his good old days, Feng is stopped by the voice of a young man known as Sing. He was treated like dirt all his life, but never stopped believing in his dream, which was to promote Kung Fu. Sing introduces himself and tries to convince Golden Leg on how Kung Fu can be beneficial for everyone, and gives an example of a woman who tripped over a banana peel. Just like Golden Leg, Sing was hopeless that anyone would ever believe him. He makes money by selling garbage. After he collects his money, he goes to a restaurant where he sees a girl with severe acne named Mui. She's a baker who uses her Tai Chi skills to bake mantao. Her skills amaze Sing, and he asks her to sell a bun, but she refuses to sell anything to him because of his flirtatious nature. He gives her his dirty, patched-up shoes as a deposit, but she refuses to accept them. As a last resort to impress the girl, Sing starts dancing in the street for Mui, but her response was still the same. He leaves without paying, and Mui throws his shoes in the garbage. Sing is still driven by the idea of promoting Kung Fu, so he looks for his first brother known as Ironhead, who works at a nightclub. Sing tries to convince him that they can promote Kung Fu by combining singing and dancing, but he was turned down by his brother, saying that he doesn't even have proper shoes to wear, so he should forget about his dreams. Ironhead's boss always breaks a beer bottle on his head whenever he's angry, so he did the same, and Sing was unable to tolerate his brother's humiliation. Ironhead tries to convince his boss that his brother can perform at the club as entertainment, and they both perform so miserably that the crowd starts beating them up. Being a master of Kung Fu, Sing wants to fight back, but he stops and backs away because of the fear that his brother might lose his job. The next day, Golden Leg finds the same beer can which was kicked by Sing stuck inside of a wall. While Feng tries to pull it out, the wall breaks, and on the other side, he sees Sing, who is about to get into a fight with a few thugs. He gets really surprised to see Sing's power and offers his services to teach him football. Sing and Feng try to build an unbeatable football team, but Feng notices that Sing was playing barefooted. Sing recalls that he had left his shoes at Mui's. The two men go to the restaurant where Mui works, and she hands back his shoes that are now repaired. Sing tries to convince his brothers to join the team, but every brother rejects the offer by telling him that they have long forgotten the power and their talent is of no use. Once again, Sing fails to convince his brothers. After Sing leaves, his brothers reminisce about their long-lost powers. The next day, they all agreed on joining the Shaolin soccer team. They started to practice, but it was a comical failure from the beginning. Golden Leg teaches Sing how to control his powers, especially when kicking a ball. Feng starts to notice an improvement and enters his team into a competition with another team who is famous for their questionable methods on the football field. Before the match starts, the captain of the opposing team accidentally drops weapons, which is alarming for Feng's team. Sing realizes that they are the same thugs from the club. The opposing team starts beating up Sing as soon as his team is about to score a goal. The whole field turns into a battlefield. This was the moment where Sing tells Golden Leg that things are about to change. The scene moves towards Sing's brothers, who are now receiving their powers. It's all coming back, and once their powers are fully restored, the Shaolin brothers return to the field more confident than ever and give their opponents a football lesson that they would never forget. After losing the game so badly, the opponents beg Sing to make them a part of the Shaolin football team. On the other side, the news about the Shaolin soccer team reaches Han, who is already building a powerful football team. Han meets Golden Leg and his team and laughs at them, thinking that they don't pose any harm to him. Once again, Han tries to bribe Golden Leg and asks him to leave the tournament, but Feng refuses to accept his offer. Then, the team celebrates their qualification into the competition at Mui's restaurant, where they're amazed to see Mui, who is clearly dressed to impress Sing. But Sing tells her that he's never thought of her like that, and always wants to consider her as a good friend. This breaks Mui's heart. Before the match, Sing realizes that he had hurt Mui, so he goes back to her restaurant. But the owner tells him that she was fired because her dough started getting sour, which made them lose many customers. He realizes that she must be crying while making the dough, and her tears resulted in the sour dough. The match begins, and Sing kicks the ball with all his strength, but the goalkeeper stops the ball effortlessly. Sing tries to go for a second kick, but unfortunately, the ball goes in the hands of Han's goalkeeper. Sing kicks a third time with all his might, but the ball would not go past the goalkeeper. In the audience, Han laughs at them because he knows he had injected drugs in every member of his team, and he also reveals that the purpose of this match was not just victory, but to send the opposing team home crippled and injured. He also bribed the referee so that he looked the other way while his players fouled their opponents. Now the opposing team kicks the ball towards the Shaolin's team's goalkeeper, and the ball whizzes at lightning speed that takes their goalie in the air with the ball. The goalie tries to act brave, but his hand has been badly wounded. The match turned into a war in which many players of the Shaolin team decide to abandon ship. With no choice left, one of Sing's brothers agrees to play the goalkeeper, which had become the deadliest position by that time. The opponent team kicked the ball towards the goalkeeper, and as the ball whizzed through the air, it was engulfed in flames. The goalkeeper bravely tries to stop the ball at the cost of his own well-being. Han orders his team to go for one last attack to finally defeat the Shaolin team. Another kick aimed at the goalkeeper sees the poor guy fall down one last time. By then, the Shaolin team had lost all their hopes of winning the competition. But then, Mui comes in and requests them to join their team. While she walks towards the net, she bangs her head on the pole. She tells Sing that she can be the goalkeeper, but the captain is hesitant to allow her to be the goalie because of the danger in this position. The team at first thinks that being a girl, she will be of little value, but she is the only option they have left. Mui goes straight up to the goal and kicks the ball towards her teammates. The ball finds its way into the other team, and a player kicks the ball towards her with all his might, and surprisingly, she transformed the energy of the firing ball into a Tai Chi stunt. It's a shocking sight for everyone as she's rolling the ball in her hands. Sing looks at her with confidence as she now throws the ball towards him, which he kicks so hard that it brings a tornado in the air that swallows the bad guys. The Shaolin team celebrates their victory while Han is arrested because of using illegal substances on his team members. At long last, Sing felt proud of himself, and sometime later, he is seen walking in his old shoes in the streets where he saw people using Kung Fu in their daily life. Sing had finally achieved his lifetime goal of popularizing Kung Fu.